Have you ever looked around and asked yourself, why is everything falling apart in my life? Why does it feel like the money's gone, the people left, the direction vanished, and even your faith is fading? Like the whole world is moving forward, but you're stuck, drowning, alone. What if I told you, this isn't the end? What if this is actually where it begins? Because when God chooses someone, He doesn't hand out comfort, He hands out purpose. And purpose comes wrapped in fire. That fire burns through fake friendships. It burns through illusions. It burns through everything you thought was secure, until all that's left is you, raw, exposed, ready. You see, there's something very few people understand. Before a chosen one is revealed, they are broken. Not lightly, not gently, but completely. If your life feels like it's collapsing, if you've been rejected, abandoned, overlooked, dismissed, if your prayers feel like they're echoing in a silent heaven, it may not be punishment, it may be preparation. You're not being left behind, you're being pulled deeper. This is not chaos. This is a divine rearrangement, and I know it hurts. I know it's confusing. I know what it's like to cry out in the dark, to ask, God, why me? To wonder if anyone sees you. To feel like the pain has no meaning, no end, no point. But what if that pain is the sign? What if that loss, that silence, that darkness is the exact vibration shift your soul needed to awaken? Because make no mistake, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And the qualification process is brutal. It strips you of what you thought you needed. It places you in rooms where you don't belong, in jobs that break you, relationships that leave you, seasons of life where the only thing you can do is survive. But listen to me. You're not crazy. You're not cursed. You're not alone. This message, it's not for everyone. It's not for the ones chasing easy answers and fast fixes. It's for the ones who've been through hell and somehow still believe there's something more. This video is for the tired ones, the misunderstood, the spiritually exhausted, the ones who've hit rock bottom but can't stop dreaming. If something inside you just stirred, if you feel that lump in your throat, that electric pull in your chest, that strange ache that feels both heavy and sacred, then this was meant for you. You're not lost. You're being located. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. And no, this is not your end. It's something deeper. It's something ancient. It's something chosen. So if you're still watching, let me ask you one more question. If this video is already stirring something deep inside you, don't scroll. Don't click away. You were guided here for a reason. Hit the like button now, not for me, but to anchor this moment into your energy. Subscribe to the channel because this is not just another video. This is the beginning of something divine, something that has been calling you for a long time. And if your soul is whispering, this is for me, then type it out in the comments right now. I feel the calling. Write it so the universe can respond. Because only those who endure the fire are trusted to carry the flame. Everything starts to collapse quietly. You don't even notice it at first. Just small shifts. A little more distance in your relationships. Money starts slipping through your fingers. The phone stops ringing. The room feels colder. And then, almost overnight, the world you once knew vanishes. Friends turn their backs. Opportunities disappear. Even your own family begins to look at you like you've lost your mind. You sit alone and ask yourself, what did I do to deserve this? You retrace every step, searching for the moment where things went wrong. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not being punished. You're being pulled. When you're chosen, really chosen, life doesn't ease you into your purpose. It rips you out of your comfort zone. It tears the floor from under your feet. Because the path of the chosen is not designed for comfort. It's designed for clarity. And clarity never comes when you're surrounded by noise. The doors that closed on you were never meant to lead you forward. The people who left were never meant to walk beside you into the next chapter. This is not rejection. This is redirection. This is divine separation. Spiritual awakening rarely begins with light. It starts in the shadows, in confusion, in what feels like loss, but is actually alignment. The chosen ones, those marked for something greater, must first be stripped of the world. They must be emptied so they can be filled. If you're feeling this deep sense of isolation, if your soul is exhausted and you're drowning in what feels like meaningless pain, understand this. You are not cursed. You are being called. The suffering you're facing isn't a barrier. It's a signal. The universe, or God Himself, is reshaping your life to fit a purpose bigger than anything you can see right now. Let me tell you about Lucas, a man who lived an ordinary life. He had a steady job, a wife he loved, and a future that seemed secure. But slowly it all started slipping. He lost his job. His wife left. Depression crept in like a fog that wouldn't lift. He couldn't recognize himself in the mirror anymore. Days blurred into nights. Hope was replaced by numbness. But just when he thought he had reached the end, something shifted. He began having dreams, vivid lights, whispered words, feelings that couldn't be explained. He would wake up in tears, feeling like someone, or something, was trying to reach him. The voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. You were not made to live like everyone else. And for the first time, Lucas didn't feel crazy. He felt seen. He felt awakened. He realized that his collapse wasn't random. It was a release, a dismantling of the false life he had built so the real one could be born. He wasn't losing everything. He was being aligned with his calling. He was being unplugged from the system, the one that kept him numb, distracted, and disconnected from his soul. This is what happens when the spiritual world steps in, when the divine sees someone who's ready, even if they don't feel ready. Lucas wasn't chosen because he was perfect. He was chosen because he was willing to let go, willing to fall apart, willing to trust a voice no one else could hear. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly where you are right now, in the in-between, the void, the wilderness, wondering why nothing makes sense, wondering why everything is being stripped from you, piece by piece. But what if this isn't destruction? What if it's preparation? What if this separation is your initiation, the first step toward becoming what you were always meant to be? What if you're being called? Lucas didn't wake up one day enlightened. He woke up aching, broken, stripped of everything familiar. But something had shifted deep inside. The silence that used to terrify him became sacred. The loneliness that crushed him started to feel like a cocoon. He wasn't being punished. He was being prepared. Every closed door, every tear, every unanswered prayer. It was all part of a spiritual training that he never signed up for, but couldn't escape. You see, when God begins the process of transformation, He doesn't announce it. He just starts removing what you thought you needed. And Lucas began to realize that this wasn't just suffering. This was sacred suffering. It was a divine process, a spiritual test designed to break what was false and awaken what was buried. That's when he stopped blaming life and started listening. The more he lost, the more he began to pray. Not because someone told him to, but because something inside him demanded it. The noise of the world faded, and in that silence he began to feel something. He didn't have the words for it, but it was real. Something ancient, something holy. This is what the chosen go through. They are thrown into fire, not to be burned, but to be purified. You're not cursed. You're in the middle of a process, a spiritual process of refinement. The pain you're feeling is not a punishment. It's an activation. God speaks in many ways, but for the chosen ones, pain is often His loudest language, because it forces you to let go of what you can't take into the next season. Lucas started seeing it clearly. He had spent years chasing things that were never meant for him. He had built a life based on expectations, not purpose. And so, the divine had to tear it down. Not to destroy him, but to rebuild him from the inside out. There were no burning bushes, no lightning bolts from heaven. Just a man on his knees, whispering, "If this is what I was made for, then show me the way." He didn't scream it. He didn't even believe it fully, but it was real. And in that moment, something cracked open. Not in the sky, not in the room, but in him. For the first time in months, maybe years, he felt peace. Not because anything outside had changed, but because something inside had aligned. That's how purpose begins. In the middle of your lowest moment. In the tears you cry when no one is watching. In the questions you ask when you feel forgotten. That's where your calling is born. Through the suffering, through the surrender, through the spiritual war that no one sees but God. You're not going through this for nothing. Every ache, every loss, every betrayal, every sleepless night, it's shaping something eternal in you. Something the world doesn't understand, but heaven does. And maybe, just maybe, you felt this too. Maybe you're going through your own wilderness right now. Maybe God is speaking to you through your pain. And if you've ever dropped to your knees and whispered, "Just show me why," then you're not alone. Lucas was you, and you are being called too. Have you ever felt that? That quiet shift where the pain suddenly feels holy? If you have, write it in the comments right now. Now I understand the purpose of my pain. But what happens next is where most people quit. Because once you've been stripped, once the pain becomes familiar, something even harder begins. The rejection. It's subtle at first. People avoid you. Conversations feel forced. You sense the energy shift when you enter a room. Suddenly you're too intense, too quiet, too deep, too different. They don't say it out loud, but you feel it in the pauses, in the glances, in the silence that follows your presence. And it hurts. It cuts deep, because all you wanted was connection. All you wanted was to belong. But here's the truth the world will never admit. You're not being rejected because you're weak. You're being rejected because you carry something sacred, and they don't recognize it. Not yet. You carry a purpose hidden beneath your pain, a calling that hasn't fully awakened, but already disturbs everything around you. That's the burden of the chosen. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to shift the atmosphere, and that always comes with isolation. Lucas felt it too. After his awakening, he thought people would understand, that maybe finally someone would say, "I see it too." But what he got was silence, distance. Some even mocked his new sense of peace. They said he was weird, obsessed, lost in his head. But deep down, Lucas knew something they didn't. He wasn't lost. He was being led, and the rejection he was facing was evidence, not of failure, but of separation. Spiritual rejection isn't personal, it's prophetic. It's God making sure you don't stay where you were never meant to grow. Think about it. Jesus was rejected. Moses was exiled. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers. Every single person chosen to do something great was first pushed away by the very people they tried to help. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your unveiling. And if you feel like you're constantly misunderstood, if your presence seems to bother others even when you're silent, that's not a curse. That's a signal. You carry something different, something divine. You were separated by God for a purpose bigger than their approval. They can't see it because it's not meant for them. Not everyone can recognize royalty when it's still dressed in rags. And the ones who mock you now, the ones who dismiss your growth, your healing, your journey, one day they'll say they always knew. One day they'll tell others they were there when you started. But you'll know the truth. You were alone in the fire, alone in the silence, alone in the call. Because the process of being chosen is not about applause. It's about obedience. And obedience often walks alone. You're not imagining the disconnect. You're not being dramatic. That feeling of not belonging, of floating outside the world you once knew, that's exactly what happens when heaven starts pointing you in a new direction. Your frequency is changing. Your energy is shifting. And the world around you is responding. You feel out of place because you're being placed somewhere new. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe this video found you because no one else could say it the way your soul needed to hear. Maybe you're not meant to fit. Maybe you're meant to rise. If you're still here, still watching, still feeling this in your chest, then let me tell you the truth without filters. You're already in the process. That pain you're carrying, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a spiritual activation. That loneliness you've been drowning in, it's not abandonment. It's divine separation. That silence that surrounds you, that unbearable quiet when no one checks in, no one understands, no one stays. That silence is where your real voice is being formed. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt, piece by piece, layer by layer. Spirit first, then soul, then body. You are not being punished. You are being reprogrammed to remember who you truly are, because the world gave you labels that never fit. The world trained you to shrink yourself, to disconnect from your true frequency, to live small when you were made for something massive. But God never forgot. Heaven never lost track of you. And now, finally, the process has begun. And you know what? It hurts like hell. That's how you know it's real. This is the sacred pattern. The chosen are always shattered before they are revealed. This world doesn't hand you your purpose on a silver platter. It carves it into you with fire. And if your life feels like it's been dismantled, if you've been losing things, people, opportunities, even your sense of identity, that's because you've outgrown the version of yourself that was built for survival. And now, you're being prepared for something higher, something divine, something eternal. Your old life cannot follow you into this new calling. That's why it had to fall apart. That's why you had to feel the pain. That's why everything had to change. Because this is the beginning of your alignment. This is the season where God stops letting you settle, where your spirit refuses to be silent, where the questions become louder than the distractions, and all of it is on purpose. You've already been marked by the heavens. You've already been seen by God. And no matter what you've done, where you've been, or how far you feel, you are not beyond reach. In fact, the very fact that you're still here, still watching, still breathing through this moment, proves one thing. The calling has already started. And the process? It's not easy. It will break you. It will stretch you. It will take everything you thought you knew and shake it to the ground. But in that wreckage, in that spiritual wilderness, you will find what religion never taught you, that God was always after your heart, not your performance. That being chosen doesn't mean being perfect. It means being willing. Willing to walk through the fire. Willing to surrender. Willing to rise even when everything says stay down. And now, I want to take you even deeper, because this journey isn't ending. It's just shifting to the next level. In the next video, we're going to talk about something that's shaking the spiritual world right now. Something most people are too afraid to say out loud, but that your spirit already suspects. The next video is called, Why the Chosen Ones Are Leaving the Church. And it's not a rebellion, it's a revelation. You're going to understand why so many who feel spiritually awake are walking away from religious systems, and what that reveals about the true nature of your calling. But before we get there, I want to hear from you. If this message reached you, if it touched something real inside of you, I want you to comment right now. Say, I'm in the process, or I know I've been called. Say it so others can find the courage to say it too. This is how we grow, together. This is how we break the silence. This is how we step into the identity that was hidden in our pain. You are not alone. You are not crazy. And this is only the beginning. If this video truly touched something inside of you, don't leave without commenting right now. I've been called. Let the world see it. Let heaven hear it. And if you cried, felt chills, or thought to yourself, this is about me, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone you love, someone who needs to hear what you just heard, someone whose spirit is breaking in silence. Like this video to anchor the shift that started inside you. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications, because the next revelation is going to shake the ground beneath everything you thought you knew. In the next video, you'll finally understand why the chosen ones are leaving the temples and returning directly to the source.